based on both how we think, our many biases and faulty mental shortcuts, and what we're told by the media, social media, and politicians. Listing and grouping these different drivers of our delusions may create the impression that they are separate effects that operate individually. This is not how it works in practice. In reality, there are myriad interactions and feedback loops between them that together create a system of delusion. How we think effects are often examined individually in psychology experiments. This makes sense, as these experiments are set up to test tightly specified hypotheses about the causes of our biases. And such experiments are essential to our understanding of the importance of different explanations of our faulty thinking and behavior. But it also encourages us to think of our biases and heuristics as discrete phenomena, when they're not. When the results from academic studies grab popular attention, they are generally presented in isolation or as checklists of distinct human quirks. This research is helpful, but it can't tell us how human delusion works in real life. Real-life contexts are complicated, and our thoughts are often susceptible to multiple simultaneous effects. Context, intent, values, and identity all matter. For example, when we massively overestimate the prevalence of teen pregnancy, which we do, as you'll see, we're overweighting negative, vivid stories that catch our attention and play on our susceptibility to stereotypes and misunderstanding of social norms. Researchers, academics, and authors also have their own motivations, including me, to keep it simple. Single, striking messages draw more attention, more funding, and more book sales. But it's not the whole story, as the agendas of the media and politicians play a part too. The interactions between how we think and what we're told are not well recognized. Almost all existing analysis tends to focus on one side or the other, on our fallible human brains or a manipulative information environment that leads us astray. This echoes our human need for simplicity and solutions. We want to see problems as caused by one thing or another, providing a clear focus for blame and a single answer. We therefore miss the real issue, that we live in a system that, by default, breeds delusion from multiple sources. Excellent books that focus mainly on our own mistaken thinking largely ignore that there are actors in politics and communications that have vested interests in pushing a particular worldview at us. Other excellent analyses, for example the many recent books on how we're living in a post-truth age, base their explanations almost entirely on the current political and media environment, ignoring our own biased ways of thinking. The much more frightening reality is that one reinforces the other. Politicians, media, and social media achieve the reaction they desire by, for example, emphasizing vivid negative stereotypical stories precisely because we are influenced more by these than accurate dry statistics. Politicians, journalists, and content creators understand this intuitively because they are human too, despite what some think. They are subject to the same biases as the rest of us, so even where this is not part of a dastardly plan, their own delusions drive their actions. This is then reinforced in feedback loops of achieving political results and increasingly instantaneous ratings of popularity, viewing figures, clicks, shares, or likes. The delusion can easily become the reality for vast swathes of the population. This systemic view explains why the delusions we'll explore appear so intractable, why they are pretty constant across time, why they exist in all countries and across a very wide range of issues. This is not a strange or new phenomenon of our post-truth age. The fact that we're so surprised by the scale of our delusions, as reflected in the gasps and laughter I hear whenever I present the results, and, to be honest, my own reaction at the findings in every new study I do, shows we naturally underestimate how baked in it is. Even if these problems are fundamental, leveraging them is not excusable. People who exploit the system of human delusion for their own gain present a real social risk. They need to be held to account. Equally, we as individuals have a responsibility to do all we can to resist the temptation to fall into lazy, flawed thinking. And there are some simple tactics we can employ.